noisy for whatever reason, I can give you a good quality sound. So anyway, you're here, I'm here, we're here. It's a new year. And so a reminder about yoga practice. It's a practice, it's not a perfect. We come to spend a little time with ourselves, investigate the sensations of our bodies, and that bodies change. You know, we get replacement parts or we injure ourselves. And so when any of that happens, we have to adapt. And maybe the right perspective helps us accept the changes instead of judging us by our former selves. So maybe your practice today will be more introspective. You can try some of the poses, not all of them work for everybody, so you get to be you, as I like to say. Today we're gonna have some twisting and some balance, so if there are some issues you can modify, just don't go as far. I usually stop along the way, and you can stop along the way. Okay, so given that we now are here and we'll be sitting on our mat as we start. Over here I have my usual props. Whatever you have, you can use or not use. Let me see if I can just straighten this up a wee bit and scoot this up just a wee bit so that, there we go. All right, I'm gonna sit over there. My voice will change a little bit. So, you know, when we sit down or stand up in Tadasana or Sukhasana, we come to be present, we come to the moment. So samastiti is the term. So sit in a fashion or even on a chair if you'd rather, to be you. And I'm trying to be better at reminding those of us who have smartwatches to go to the workout and then find the yoga, and then you get bonus credit. So once you are ready to start your practice, we'll sit mindfully addressing the Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor, the action of Uddiyana, the lifting of the spine. Feel space created in your vertebrae. Lengthen through the neck and up through the crown of the head. Now you see me holding my legs, that lends support to my back in my natural curve and alignment. Maybe you don't need that support. Maybe you use your hands in a mudra gesture. So however you're going to sit mindfully. You can keep your eyes open or lower your eyes or close your eyes and dwell on your breath. Let the breath be your focus right now. How are your nasal passages responding? So yoga generally in and out through the nose, but yours may be congested. And so as we do our yoga practice, you may become aware that the movement helps create some space in your nostrils. And if not, just breathe through the mouth. Visualize your lungs inflating and deflating. And I'm here to remind you that on the deflation, press in through the abdominal wall to help, like an accordion, push the air out of the lungs. As you sit for a few moments, you may notice some cranky parts of your body, your neck, your shoulders, your back, your knees, your hips. Take those under advisement, work with them gently, and maybe you get to that place where they're more manageable and not painful. None of this should be painful. So as you move into your next breath, sitting strong, mindfully opening up your eyes, stretching the arms to the sides of your space, shoulders down, fingers out. Go ahead and lift the arms wherever it feels pain-free. Lift your spirit, lift your focus up. It's a new day, it's a new year, it's a new week. Join the palms together and with the hands at the heart. Count your blessings. Though they may be hard to find, we all have our blessings. And then I'll begin to rub my hands a little bit. Maybe kind of feel like you're washing your hands. We should all be washing our hands these days. Still. So just kind of a rubbing. Some of us have slower circulation, and so our extremities stay on the chilly side. Some of you may be in a very cool environment, so dress appropriately. So let's move through the wrist. So I'm moving around, and you may notice things that you've never noticed before, so pay attention. Go the other way. I'll remind you to breathe. And then from the elbow, begin like a conducting of the orchestra. Let the elbows participate as the arms and shoulders come into play. Moving the hands onto your shoulders, circle the arms, and it can start small and grow to larger, or you could just go for it. So go the other way, notice the difference. Sometimes one side is more available or just is more natural. And then release the hands down, and I'll turn my head from side to side. As I turn my head from side to side again, sometimes popping and cracking happens. So moving the head side to side. And then dropping the ear side to side. You just keep doing that. I'm going to close the door here in my space. Just keep moving your ear from side to side. Yes. I just had to slide the door shut. And then I'm going to nod the chin and lift my chest. Hear what I said. Nodding the chin without forcing it, and lifting the chest, not dropping my head back. Not saying you can't, just not sure that you should. So bowing the head and lifting the chest. So let's move down toward our ribs as you settle the head on top of the spine. We're going to start by using the floor for support for our back. I'll move on to maybe not using the floor. Choose which one is best for you. So as again, we inhale, lift and lengthen. I'm going to drop the left arm and touch the floor as the right arm reaches skyward. This hand on the ground gives me that support from my back. Check that your placement of the high arm has not gone in front of you. Feel that you're more open, and then push off the floor and just go to the other side. Now for some people this plays into the back, so be a little mindful. If you started in a chair, you could still do this in the chair. Doesn't matter your leg position. Just bringing a little warmth, a little energy, some chi into our personage today. Maybe the arm gets a little closer to your face. Now I'm going to not touch the floor. That requires a little more from my core. I feel like I'm tipping over and my body has to kick in and stop me. This may be okay or not. Are you invested in your breath, she might ask? And then pause center, letting the hands come together, palms together, lifting the arms up. Careful where wall or furniture may be as the arms come around. So palms going together, touching, rising up overhead, splitting apart. This should not hurt, so modification might be something like this with a bent elbow and reaching back more gently. Find where your breath supports the movement. Now the interesting, come from behind. So as you come from behind, join the palms overhead and bring them down. Check your shoulders, relax the shoulders, the arms fly back, rise up, join together, and lower down. One more time. Arms moving back, arms lifting up, joining together, coming down, and pausing here. So I'm going to bring my knees up, sit back on my hands. You know this one as we drop the knees from side to side. Now I'm sitting here on this pillow. You could be on a pillow or a blanket. Sometimes that's useful. This particular pillow is more spongy, so it's not serving its purpose. So I'm going to sit here without it and then go from here. Oh, I did a long hike yesterday, and my body is speaking to me this morning in a good way. We come to Bandha Konasana, so you might want to sit back on your pillow. I'll just stay right here, bottom of the feet together, and I'm leaning back. So here's what it looks like from this side. I'm not up here yet. I'm just kind of comfortable, letting my knees fall open as I now move into my hip area, waking up my hips, letting my knees falling down. Leaning back will help those knees, even if you're very tight in the hips and you say, well, that's as far as I can go. When you lean back, you're going to find a little more space. So why not embrace it? So I've lifted my chest. My chest is out. I have a slight curve in my back and my knees are falling out. Now walk up onto your fingertips behind you and take note of, if you're sitting on something, where you are landed, on your pelvis or back on your tailbone, because there might be a tendency to roll onto the tailbone. So you're going to see me do my little rocking thing until I feel I have a better presence in my sit bones. Hands behind are helping me sit nice and tall, shoulders not into my ears, shoulders are down and back. Profile view, here's what I did. I was from here, I came up here. And you know, you could move your buns away. You could do that as well. Take in the sensations that you have, either one hand or, for a little more challenge, both hands at the same time, coming around to grab the ankles. Without bending forward, just lean forward and lean back, just as far as your elbows will bend and as far as your elbows were straight. We call this the hinge motion. It's a protective way of accessing a rounded forward fold with care for your low back. Because while you think you might be going forward and rounding, you're actually dumping into your low back. So next time you come forward with the heart, stay there, and I'll show you from this side. I was here and I went through here. And you may go further than me or not as far, and it doesn't matter. Where you want to avoid going is back into your low back. So once you've hinged forward, now just gaze down and look at your feet, or feel the weight of your head move towards your feet. We're still early in our practice, so maybe you're not going so far. Maybe the weight of your body is helping you to come into Uttanasana, forward fold. Check in with your breath. Notice the breath has now moved toward the back side of your rib cage than it is for the front and the belly. Holding onto your feet or your ankles, keep your head down. Roll yourself up until you sit tall in your spine. Crown of head towards sky. Take your left leg as you're facing me out to the side a little bit. And let's get those hands back behind to help us. So I'm sitting up nice and tall, finding my sit bones on both sides, working around my hips. So think it is a ball and socket joint. So we're going to play with it. It'll affect more of your adductors. Some people feel it on their legs, some the back, some the shoulders. Some people don't feel much at all. So just the right hip will stay anchored. The left hip will lift and lower. Right hand behind, supporting the spine. Left arm stretching out to the side. As the left arm comes around, my left hip comes up, my instep drops down, and I reach outward. But I'm sitting on my right hip. As I open my arm, there's a big gap under my left hip, and I want to drop it down with the action of Uddiyana. So let's practice that. Inhale, reaching across, and exhale, opening and dropping down. Helps us find our sit bones. Open and drop. You may have some modification. Maybe you don't reach as far. Maybe your knees are up a little higher, and then you have to go forward more. Now I'm going to reach and sweep. I can be on my palm or my knuckle. I'm more on my shin than I am on my knee. As I reach, sweep the arm up. Lift both hips up. As you reach through the fingers, all the way to the tips, also back down your side and to your toes. Expandorama. Lower the arm in front of you, fold in your left leg, extend your right leg, ground with your left arm back, and sit up nice and tall. So right now I'm sitting on both of my pelvic bones. Right arm is now going to reach across as I turn the hip and the leg, reaching across, drawing back. This is important. Action of Uddiyana, dropping that hip back down. Remember, the hand is there to support the back so you're not all collapsed. Sit tall. And lower. Action of Uddiyana. We'll go one more across. And again, you can support yourself with the palm. Knuckles will work if that's better for your wrist. Reach and sweep all the way up. Kind of exploring where your arm can go, pushing the hips forward, and bringing the arm around, and folding in. Now we're going to stand up. Remember what I asked when you stand up, that you try not to use your hands, keyword try. So if you can stand up with your legs crossed, that's fine. I know that's not for everybody. So if you kind of roll over onto one hip, so you can come up onto your knees, that's another way. When you present one foot forward, try not to rest your hands on it. Kind of get that strength by grounding down, and then think down as you lift yourself up. It comes over time, but we want to keep that in our vocabulary. All right, standing facing me, feet a little wider than your hip distance. And I'll just begin a little figure 8 motion. We do this to make sure our sacrum is nice and loose and responsive. In the low back, it acts more as a stabilizer, but we use it oftentimes in our rotation, and we want it to be available to us without tweaking anything, right? We'll do cats and cows from a standing position. It's always useful to have this in your vocabulary. So I'm slide the hands down my thighs and my knees are bent. Let me turn sideways. You don't have to turn sideways. I'm just here. So right now my spine is neutral. I'm not in a cow and I'm not in a cat. I'm just in that neutral position. So anchor your shoulders, brace, and now draw from the belly button, tailbone dropping down, chin dropping down, feeling the roundedness of the back and the hollowing of the belly. And then as you go the other way, lead out with the heart as you stick your tailbone outward and lift the chest. Cow pose. So move between the cat and cow on your own time, having your own experience, being as mindful, not thinking the end point is the important part, but the journey and the feelings. Now in your next cat pose, keep your head down, imagine a pillow between the legs, and roll yourself all the way up. For some people, this might be a blood pressure check-in. If you feel a little dizzy, get stable before you move on. Thumbs come to the small of the back, a string on the heart. I lift the chest, don't have to push my hips forward. I just lift the chest, and with your thumbs on your back, you can see they're just adjacent to my spine. You may feel those muscles kick in. Those are your extensor muscles. And return center. Go ahead and narrow the stance. We're going to move into spinal rotation. So I have the inner edges of my feet together. This is a more challenge for the balance rather than the feet apart. And be on all parts of the feet. Squeeze the legs. Check those bandhas. Lift up the heart. Relax through the neck and the shoulders. Open the arms as you breathe in. Now you can have your palms down, you can also have your palms forward, whatever feels better to your shoulder. Before you twist, you want to lift. So on your breath in, kind of lift your ribs up off of the hip bones. We'll go to the right side first. As you exhale, keep those feet together and rotate. Now you may not go very far, you may be kind of on a diagonal, or you may be able to watch the wall behind you, she said. You may be able to turn all the way off. So the arms are reaching in whatever direction they're pointing, and you have your legs together. It's a little wobbly here, isn't it? Return back center and lower the arms. Relax those shoulders. So get grounded again, all the elements of mountain pose, Tadasana. Root the feet, engage the legs, bandhas, spine, inhale, lift. On your next inhale, the ribs float and you begin to rotate. Those arms staying connected to one another. Maybe think of you're holding a stick or a broom. Careful you're not rolling out on that left foot. Hold those inner edges of the feet together. Find your breath. As you return back center, lower the arms and breathe out. So you feel that energy in your shoulders, maybe around your midsection. Let's move more dynamically or with breath, so more of a flow. On the inhale, your arms will lift, your ribs will lift. On the exhale, you'll rotate to that end point. Inhale, return back center, and exhale, lower the arms. Now you may go slower or you may go faster. Inhale, lift. Exhale, turn. Inhale, return. Exhale, lower. Again, inhale, lift. Exhale, turn. Inhale, return. Exhale, lower. Last time, not rolling on your feet, right? Inhale, lift. Exhale, rotate. Inhale, unspiral. Exhale, hands come onto your hips and take a little wider stance. Let's go back and do that figure eight. Check in with how your spine is feeling. So we'll just do some preparation for our hamstrings. Those will be used today as well. So we're just going to do a standing traditional hamstring opener. As I turn sideways, my feet are apart as I left you. I'll let one foot go forward, doesn't matter which foot. My toes are up. Can you see my toes are up? Now you have a couple options for hands, but you want to lead with the heart, not with the head. So as my hands slide down on one hand on each thigh, right on the right, left on the left, and my hips get pulled back and I hinge forward, the standing knee will bend, but the extended leg is straight, and I lower my chest. If you prefer, and you may, you can bind the hands by grabbing the fingers or just holding the hands together, and do the same thing with the lower body. So our objective here is to just feel some opening in the back of the legs so nothing gets pulled when we use it later. And then drawing yourself back up, and we do the same thing other side. Toe up, hands can stay behind, hands can be on your lap, leaning forward without rounding. So it's the pushing back of the hips, it's just working the angle where the bones, ligaments, and tendons connect. So you want to open up back there. And you breathe. Tighten the belly and bring yourself back up, and let's go down to our feet. I'm very fond of bendy toes. My feet are apart. Check your blood pressure. You can leave the hands alongside, active, or if you want, rest them on your side, whichever. So alternate lifting your heels. Now, as we do this, there might be a tendency to kind of be unaware of what the upper body is doing because you're thinking about the feet. So keep the feet moving and try and quiet the rest. Everything doesn't have to move together. It could if you didn't pay attention. So I have my bandhas engaged, I'm lifting one heel up, pressing into the pads of each one of my toes, and trying to still the rest of my body. Find your breath. We move into the awkward pose. This is a balancing pose on the balls of the feet. You can be as high or low depending on how your knees feel, and it will feel awkward, then you know you're doing it properly. So leave one heel up, the knee is bent, same arm goes over that leg, Then you bring the other heel up. Both knees are bent. Now I'm at a modified knee bend. I could go lower, I could go way low. The heels are off the mat, the shoulders are down. Just gaze off the tips of your fingers and breathe. Dropping the heels, dropping the arms, pressing the hips forward, letting the hands come from behind, watch out for things. As you finish, join the palms together, standing nice and tall, and hands into our heart. We'll repeat this 2 more times, you will get better. So one arm out, one heel up, the other arm out, the other heel up. Stay on the high side, go to the low side. Heels are off at whatever height they do, and breathe. Dropping the heels, dropping the arms, hips moving forward, arms come from behind. Join them at the end of your breath overhead and hands into the heart. Once more, extending one arm, lifting the heel of the same leg, repeating on the other side. You see I'm on the balls of my feet, shoulders are down. Find your breath. It gets a little wobbly up here. Dropping the heels, dropping the arms, pushing the hips forward, hands come from behind, arms draw all the way up, and then into the heart. So we will be using more of that. Let's step to the end of the mat and go through a flow. That's called vinyasa. So we will be using some planks and downward dogs. Palms aren't for everybody. Knuckles will work. Make sure your thumbs are forward, not turned in. And you could do forearms in that case. Sometimes having your blocks nearby can be helpful. We're going to go down and stretch through the front of the hip. We've already taken care of the back and we're warmed up through our core and shoulders. Aho! Tadasana. As you feel that energy between the legs, float the arms forward up the chest, sit back into Uttanasana, the chair pose. Track the legs. Should not feel pressure in the knees nor in the back. For those who want a more full experience, the arms will reach up. You might deepen, you're not tipping over. As you exhale, lower the hands down to the sides of the feet. Some people will put them on a block. And then shake your head a big yes. And move your head a big no. Drop the hips a little further, look up. Let's all do the left leg back today. So the left foot goes back hip distance, wiggle, 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 and slide until your left knee remains above, your right knee remains above the right ankle. You're very light on the hands, so you could take them off. You don't have to, rather than leaning down on them. Fundus in, straighten the back knee. You're gonna feel that opening in the thigh. Remember, if you had blocks, it would be a little higher and that might be a little more appropriate for you. Option to stay on the ball of the foot or bring the knee onto the mat, depending on how that feels. Lean on your left arm, reach the right arm up. Bring the right arm down, lift the hips of the back leg, bend the back knee, push off, step up. Put the hands on or around your calves, lay your body on your thigh, drop your head, then try to straighten the legs. So the most important thing is that your body stays connected to your thighs rather than you straighten the legs. But if you can straighten the legs, go for it. Release the arms, bend the knee, check in with blood pressure as you rise all the way up. And join the hands at heart. Extend the arms out, move the hips back, find that version of chair pose for you. You can leave the arms in front, you can lift them a little higher. As you exhale, the hands come down onto your blocks or onto the floor next to your feet. Drop the hips, lift the chest. Now your right foot takes the turn, goes back, but then it keeps going back. Wiggle, 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 slide. Here's your marker, front knee over ankle. Lift your chest, drop the back hip as it's available. Find your breath. Again, the option to keep the back leg off the mat or to put the knee down. Come onto your right palm or knuckles and release the left arm skyward. This time when we bring the hands down, if you're using blocks, you'll want to now come onto the mat, lift up your hips, move your front foot to your back foot, and then transition into plank. Shoulders above the hands. Imagine a pillow between the legs. Hips are not high and hips are not low. And you breathe. Watch out for droopy heads. Knees soften onto your mat. And the torso comes down as a unit. Elbows are in, chin is up, lower yourself down. Chest and hips land at the same time softly. Relax your feet. Without pushing on hands, baby cobra. So I'm just lifting my chest. That's appropriate for people who have some stenosis in their backs. Release down. Again, go to baby cobra or place the palms down, keeping the elbows bent, cobra. And come down. Now, not too often do I do upward facing dog. Some people might want to. You still go through baby cobra and cobra rather than just pushing up. So you lift with muscles in the back, apply a little pressure with your hands. As you straighten the elbows, draw the shoulders back, and I've lifted my knees off. I'm on the tops of my feet, gazing outward. Again, not everybody should do this, but it's not just pushing up. My knees are back down, my elbows are in, and I lower back down. So you can always choose one of those three options. I'll just say go up. So inhale, go up. Exhale, come down. Turning your toes under. Let's keep the knees down for this first one. Lift up the hips. So remember, the pelvis stays up. Do the best you can. Press onto the palms to straighten the elbows. Back into the plank. As we come to downward dog, the hips go up. You look at your thighs and walk your feet forward a little. Not very far. You'll figure out, it's like a Goldilocks. Maybe your first downward dog, the focus will be on shoulders and back. So you bend the knees for that grace and ease in your back. Focus on pressing into all pads of the fingers, not just the pinky side. If you can do this with straight legs, be my guest. Find your breath. Eyes are looking to your thighs or up to your belly button. Raise the heels when you breathe in, bend the knees when you breathe out. As you finish your breath, you walk, you step, or you jump yourself up to where the hands are. Again, drop the hips, bind behind or on the calves. As you bow over, folding together, a little bit more opening for our hamstrings. Bend the knees, release the arms, watch your blood pressure as you rise up. And this time, put the hands on the hips. Root into your right leg, pick up your left knee. Now you might get a little cramp in your hamstrings, but let's give it a try. You're going to keep the knee bent, that's lifted, and you're going to push it back so the knees are adjacent. This would almost be like a dancer pose if we were holding our ankle. Bring the knee back forward. Bandha's breath. Balance, head up. And again, move the knees back so they're adjacent. The back knee is bent. If this is too much, you can put your toe on the floor. Oh, now she tells me. Tadasana. Hands back on the hips. Root into your other leg. I don't think I was that specific. And then pick up the other leg until the knee is bent, coming out from your hip joint. Pull up, pull up, pull up. Active foot. And now keeping that knee bent, push the foot back, push the leg back. Your legs should be side by side. Again, draw the knee forward. Focus. And move the knee back. And Tadasana. You'll see why we did that in a moment. Arms lift when you breathe in. Fold over when you breathe out. Lift your chest, drop your hips when you breathe in. Left foot steps back when you breathe out. Drop your left heel. Remember those toes move on the diagonal, not straight out to the side. Keep the front knee bent. Engage through your core. As you rise up, bring the arms into cactus. Now it's really tempting to want to bring that leg more straight. Let's keep it bent. Keep the hips forward, the chest forward. Virabhadrasana 1 with cactus arms. So really work on lower body alignment. Back toe turn allows the hips to be facing forward. If the back foot turns out, good luck getting that hip around. So you move the hips forward, you commit to the lunge, and you feel that big opening into the groin. The arms are pretty easy in the cactus. If you wanted to raise them overhead, you could. Sometimes that pulls on backs. Roll into the pinky toe side of the back foot. Bring both arms forward, palms down. Leave the right hand over your right leg. Place the left hand on your left shoulder. While still looking at your right hand, let the left hand pull your left shoulder back so that your body turns or twists. And now keep that left arm reaching back over your left leg, still looking forward. Recommit to your lunge as we explore Warrior Two. Send the energy from your shoulders out your hands. Now we windmill the arms, flip the back heel up, lower the hands onto the mat, step the front foot to the back foot, and we're back into a plank. You can go down on the knees or stay on your toes. The elbows are in, the chest and hips land at the same time. Relax the feet. Going up, coming down. Toes under, hips up, either with the knees down or come up on your toes and lift your thighs. Keep those hips and thighs up. Do the best you can to push back up into your plank, into your downward dog, adjusting your feet, taking a few sweet breaths here. Some of you might be inclined to walk your dog, that's fine. On your next breath in, raise the heels, bend the knees, sit back, look forward. Again, walk, step, or jump right up to where those hands are. Hands around or over your calves, body on your thigh, bow over, forward fold, squish together. Bend the knees, release the arms, stand all the way up. Don't worry, I am on the other side by intention. And hands into your heart. Inhale, lift your arms, and in a swan dive, forward fold. Drop the hips, lift the chest. Your right foot goes back to that long lunge and drop your heel. Set your feet, get grounded before you move on. With that intention of your core and the front knee bent, we're going to rise into Virabhadrasana 1. Check the knee, check the hips. Roll into pinky toe side. Stay with breath. Reaching the arms forward. Left arm stays over your left leg. Keep looking at your left arm. Bring your right hand to the right shoulder. Let the right hand pull the right shoulder back. It turns your body. Reach the right hand back over the right leg. Recommit to the lunge as you deepen into Virabhadrasana 2. Undoes breath. Windmill the arm, flip the back heel up, down to your lunge. Lift your hips, step back into your plank. From knees, from toes, elbows in, down you go. Uncurl the toes, up you go, wherever up takes you. And elbows in as you go down, turn those toes under, hips up from knees or toes. Do your best you can. Push up into downward dog. Adjust your feet. In this downward dog, be aware of the space behind you. We go to three-legged dog. Stand on the left foot, lift up your right foot, arms and legs are straight on both sides. Bring the right foot down. Breathe in, lift your left foot up. Arms and legs are straight. And it's okay to be parallel or open in my view. Back to downward dog. This time, walk your feet back, lift the heels, come to your plank position, chin up. Press away from the mat. Find your breath, chin up. Knees down, child's pose. Most of us will part the knees a little bit. You're welcome to leave the arms extended. Bring them in under your head. Take them back behind you. So child's pose, just that digestion period, not the judgment. So you kind of come back, reset. Notice the energy that you've expended. That's good. So come to the down dog. Raise your heels when you breathe in. Bend your knees, sit back, look forward. Walk, step, jump your feet to where your hands are. This time, go to a chair pose. So you drop the hips, squeeze the inner thighs, release the arms, right the body so you're not leaning forward. Decide where the arms should be for your chair pose. Stay in your chair pose as I quickly turn to face you. And move your legs together so the feet and knees are touching. Bring the palms together, hands to your heart. So you can hear me, you don't have to see me. Lower your chest and hands down as you come to this big squat. Option 1, take your right hand across the two legs. So your elbows on one side, your hands around the other leg. Put your right hand on the small of your back. Did I say use your right hand, left hand? Anyway, one hand on your thigh, the other one on the small, the back palm up. The hand that's behind turns, and you could be here. If you wanted to return the hands to the heart, hook elbow over opposite leg, push with the top hand, and turn. Some of you might want to open your arms. Return the hands back to your heart. We do the other side. Lay the other arm across your lap. The other free hand to the small of the back. Turn and look. Option 1. Option 2, hook the elbow over your thigh. Top hand pushes to the bottom hand and you spiral. Some of you might want to open your arms. One variation not better than another. Return the hands to your heart, burst from the earth, lift to the sky, open the arms, stand with feet apart, face me. How are those thighs? Okay, a little bit for the sacrum from that twist. So we're going to do a balance. and it will include some of the pre-work that we did. So give yourself a moment and I will show you. So what will happen, and if you needed a wall or a counter or something nearby, you could. Sorry, there's mowing out here. So what will happen is you will lift one arm up and the opposite knee. Then you'll take the knee that was up, just like we did a moment ago, and bring it back. And you look like the dancer pose. Say, yes, Karen, I look like the dancer pose. Then that knee will come forward and the arm up will come down, and you'll grab below the knee. You'll raise the arm that's hanging by your side and turn yourself to look behind you. You'll let go of the leg, stretch it out, return back center, and come into Tadasana, more or less. Shall we do this? So situate yourself so you might have support if you need it, and maybe just stumbling out of it is what your body needs to do to figure it out. My feet are not together, so let's root down on the right leg and lift up the left arm. The right arm. Standing on right leg, right arm. Copy me. And then bring the left knee up. And then keeping the arm up high and the other arm down low, push the foot back so the knees are side by side, knee is bent. If that's creating a cramp, go ahead, drop your toe to the floor. Pull up, it's like a dancer pose without the bind. Once again, bring that knee forward and bring the hand down so it can grab the knee. Raise the other arm to your side, it's going to give you some balance. Slowly turn, look behind you. I got all these pokey things on the wall, gotta be careful. Let go of the leg and stretch it out. And return back center, Tadasana. Let's do the other side. Left arm up. Ground on your left leg, right knee up. Keep the high arm, push the bent knee back. Remember, sometimes we hold that leg and we call it dancer. Just right now we're not. And breathe. As the knee comes forward, the arms come forward and grab. Open your arm and turn. And I believe I'm going to need to use my AirPods, so stay with me. Here we go. All right, so this is going to be a little different for you. It'll be more quiet for you. You're just going to hear me breathing in your ear. Did you straighten out your leg? And come back center. Let's do it again one more time on each side, and I will lead the way. Root on your right leg as the right arm comes up. Get all of the parameters you would for a standing mountain pose. Go ahead and bend that left knee and raise it up. Maintain that right angle that you've just done with your left leg, and then push the foot back. So you're standing in unsupported dancer pose, and breathe. As that knee comes forward, the arm comes down. Go ahead, grab right below the knee, raise your arm to the side. That's going to give you a bit of balance or stability, one would hope. And then as you lift nice and tall, slowly turn, reaching back behind you. And then go ahead and let go of the leg, both arms reaching in opposition. We did this earlier, right? As I come back center and I stand on 2 feet. So that bit of calm you're feeling now, take it with you to the other side. Left arm up, ground and stabilize. Right knee up, breathing. Moving that right thigh back till you simulate a dancer pose. And bringing the knee forward and the arm down so that it grabs below the knee. Lift the other arm up, pull yourself up, root into the earth. It's okay if you step out of it, I almost did. As you turn to look behind you, watch out for walls and things. Release the leg, let both arms stretch away. Turn back center and close the posture. Hands on hips, feet apart, figure eight. Okay, some wide leg stretches. Take the feet on the long end of the mat to a wide straddle. Remember, the edges of the feet are parallel and you know the distance that that should be. We're going to open into the anterior of the shoulder. We played a little bit with that with the last two poses we did. So like a little breaststroke motion. Grab the hands or lace the fingers. Straighten the elbows so the shoulders artificially go back. Uttanasana, as you lean into your toes, bow over, let the arms come up, and don't be worried how up they go. Just lift the arms up. For some people, the head might go to the mat, but that's not required. If you're finding that the hands can clump together, that might be an option. Stay in your forward fold. Release the hands, put the forearms on your thighs as they bend. Now I'm in this really wide squat, so I'm going to heel and toe my feet a little bit closer. So you know we're going to be coming to the garland pose. As my hips begin to drop, I may be the person that just stays here, supported. I may be the person that can come down and press my knees apart and drop my chest and lift my chest, drop my hips. If you had a yoga block nearby and you wanted to sit on it, I would say you could do that. Take 2 breaths wherever you are. And then on your own terms, bring yourself to the mat. Try not to use your hands. Now I'm pretty close here, so I think I'm just gonna pop on down and be like this. When you come to sit with your ankles crossed, we'll do the sit and spin. And it might appear, since I've put my buds in, that things have gone quiet. So let me remove them. This is going to change the audio for you. See, it's more quiet now, isn't it? Okay, so sitting here, spinning. This is traditional Monday now. And then go the other way. We're moving down into our core strengthening. If you wanted to, because last week we used a chair or use a wall, you can, but we're going to be working from a bent knee. So it's not straightening and bending the knees such as a bicycle. If you wanted something under your head because that's just better for you, you can do that. So I'll face this way, doesn't matter which way you face. Slowly move onto your back in a mindful way that doesn't aggravate your back or your neck. So you could have your arms by your side. You could have your hands cradling the head. I still see people that bring their elbows back here. What have you done to yourself? I still see people that pull here. So just let those elbows be in a natural position and cradle the head so there's no strain in the neck. That's why you have your hands up here. I know it ends up being something like this, but just feel the weight of the head. And if you rather, you could also put the head down. So you've got lots of options with the upper body. So let's, for a moment, before we go into some work, just ascertain our natural position. So there should be a little space, not a whole lot, under your low back. Action of Uddiyana is squeezing, but because I squeeze through my belly, I have not pushed my low back down. So we know this neutral position. Mula Bandha is engaged. And so we want to maintain that. And you're going to raise just the heels off the floor. So just your tippy toes are touching. What has happened? You feel a little bit of work have to happen to hold the heels up. Or you could feel that your feet are just very light on the mat without letting the back arch or pick up or press down. Remain in your neutral or natural position. So I'm going to keep that knee bent as if it's frozen in a cast and bring it up and then lightly touch my toe down. Here a little bit more, and then I'm going to lower one leg and lift one leg. So this is our beginning move. Remember, your head can be down, your arms can be down, your head could be up, and there's no movement at the knee. For some people, that's a challenge in of itself. Bandhas, bandhas, bandhas. Now, if you want to make the next step happen, don't wait for the first leg to come down. As it starts to go down, bring the other leg up. So they're moving simultaneously. That's a lot more demand. So if you say, oh, not my thing, go back and do the first one. This is in part some hip strengthening, hip flexor strengthening. Now again, head up or head down. Now I'm going to extend one leg as the other knee pulls in and then push the other leg out. To make it a little more easy, for some of us, the leg might want to go more upward in the diagonal place and then more challenging for low, but not touching the floor. Check your spine, is it natural? Let's do one more, and we'll all find our knees with our hands and let the head come down and pull the knees in. Now your low back will press into the floor. You'll feel perhaps a little relief because you were using your core. The core is not just the abdominal wall. So now leave the knees up. Cross your ankles might be useful, though you don't have to. Bring the hands, as I was demonstrating before, stacking the hands, lacing the fingers, it's okay. So you have your knees there, and you're just going to lift the chest toward those legs without moving the legs. And lift the shoulders up, and feel the weight of your head. And that's going to be the most challenging thing. So let it be your mantra to relax your head, relax the neck. So we're not going so fast that we don't have time to think about that. So you feel the weight of the head, especially going down, and you don't let the elbows come forward to pull on the neck as you go up. So my feet are crossed or your feet are not crossed. Using that full range of motion and the upper end of the rectus abdominis muscle. Let's do about 2 more. And let's stay up. Release the hands, grab the knees, head goes down, knees part, and rest. Putting the 2 together is an option. You can do the lower end as we started with. You could do the second upper body part as we finished with, or you can join me in doing both. So you get to choose. So you do want the hands behind. So if you're just doing this one, that could be you. If you're doing this one, 1 foot up, 1 foot down, or if you're doing this one. Now I'm going to do my chest up and my chest down. So if you're putting it all together, it kind of looks like this. Am I twisting? I am not twisting. I'm just going up and down, straight ahead. Neutral spine. And breathe. And then bring both knees in, head down. Placing the feet to the floor and the knees together, bend. Arms open wide to a T. Drop them to one side, doesn't matter which side. Breathe fully into that upside. So whatever side is on the top, just feel it expanding. I'd like for you to be prudent when we go to the other side. I know you probably could pick up both knees at the same time, but you never know when that might tweak your back. So lift the first knee or the high knee up first, and then the second knee. And then let the knees fall over to the other side. Now breathe fully out of the ribs on the high side. So you're going to lift the bottom leg, the top leg from the bottom leg and then up. And now place right ankle on left thigh. You know where we're going with this, right? So you can do traditional pretzel pose. That means both my hands come up, they grab behind the leg that's on the floor that comes up, and then I use the elbow to keep my knee open of the leg that's crossed. Head can go back down. I usually don't do that. So you know me, I grab my foot, keeping it active, and I push the knee away. So I've got the action of my knee pushing at the ankle, my hands lining things up, and the assist of the knee pushing outward. And I might want a little bit more out of my hip joint. So I roll toward the foot that's on top. So if it's your right foot on top, you'll roll to the left. If it's your left foot on top, you'll roll toward the right. It's not very far. And don't go outward, stay inward. So this is in lieu of the pigeon pose, which I do like maybe once a month. When you come back center, see if you can straighten that leg. We've done a lot of opening for our hamstring. This could be available. If you wanted a little more, I would say, see if you can climb up your leg. Some of you might be able to reach for the foot, not a competition. Go ahead and lower the legs in any fashion so that both legs go down, as does your head. Take a breath. Place left ankle above right thigh. As you lift up, the hands can go behind the leg that's on the floor, which then comes up, and then the elbow pushes the knee open. Or you can be like me and do it this way. So I have the pushing of the knee, the aligning of my foot, and the opening of the knee for that hip. Want a little more? Roll toward that top leg side, all around this hip. Wouldn't be uncommon to find that one leg needed a little more or was tighter, because it just is. Check your foot's not out, keep pulling in. Returning back center, extend the leg up. You can put your head back down and just hope for the best here. You could climb up the leg. You could maybe reach for your foot. Head comes down, feet come down as we move to bridge pose. I always mark my feet by touching them with my fingertips. Mula Bandha, Uddiyana action. Engage your glutes. Elevate the pelvis. You're welcome to remain here, or you can snug the shoulders in, bind through the hands, and get a little more elevation. Fluffing up our innards is what I call it. Unsnug the shoulders if you pull them under your back. Come down from the upper back, down through the middle back, pull in the belly button to get the lower back down. Ultimately, you release the glutes. That may be enough for you. Some people automatically pull their knees in. You can also go to reclined Bandha Konasana. Take a breath. Either rock yourself to seated position, or an easier transition is roll to your side to come up. So transition from supine into upright. Sit in a fashion suitable for you. Again, I encourage the lifting of the spine. Your right hand goes back, your left arm goes forward, your right shoulder pulls back, and we just do one nice little twist this way. Nice and tall, go the other way. Fingertips lightly on the crown of the head, elbows pull forward, bow your head down. And go ahead and melt onto the floor so we can do Shavasana. As you get yourself down onto the floor, it could be on your side, it could be on your belly, it could be on your back. You could use a pillow under your knees, behind your head, feet up the wall. Maybe you need socks on your feet. So get yourself set up. Let me move around to be a little closer to you. So we're in transition here. And this is where we're going to let go of things. So just for a few minutes, and then we'll share our thoughts. And you at your house may have distractions like I had at mine. Shavasana is a place where we try and push them away. We know they're there. Life is always here buzzing around us. It doesn't mean it has to interfere with us. So remember some of the techniques that we use in this transition. Well, when you get your body into a very comfy position so you feel safe, and then you begin to notice your breath. And that focus onto the breath tends to narrow or taper the mind into a sense of calm. Some people like to wander through their body with their mind and consciously relax body parts that they might have not known were holding tension. Some people like their minds to go into nature, taking in the smells, the environment, the peace, whatever that evokes for you. Inevitably, whatever technique you're using, those thoughts, that to-do list, the issues that just keep coming up until they don't anymore, can come to visit you. So you notice it, and then you just move it away. It's called a practice. I think it's an important part of our yoga practice. So I'll give you just a few moments. Wait for the singing bowl. Let this time be yours. Alas, the singing bowl welcomes us back. Wiggling your fingers and toes to awaken your body. Put it together with that relaxed mind. Feel free to stay there or roll to your side. And so our thoughts. So there was a baseball player named Yogi Berra, and he is quoted as saying, "You gotta be careful if you don't know where you're going, because you might not get there." So do we have a clear vision of where we want to go in our lives, or do we just react to things as they happen? Sometimes we need to do a little of both. Without an idea of what we hope to be and accomplish, we may not achieve our full potential. On the other hand, when exciting opportunities present themselves, sometimes the best thing to do is just go with them, whether or not they fit our perfect plans that we've made for ourselves. So here's a thought for today. I can spend a little time today thinking about how my daily activities fit with my goals. Am I spending too much time on distractions, not enough time on the things that will help me get where I want to go? Am I open to new opportunities when they present themselves? That sounds like a good idea. I think we should all kind of sometimes look at how we're living our lives, the patterns we might be creating for ourselves, and is it time to go anew? Or are we good with how we are? Yes. So go ahead, bring yourself up to a seated position as you sit up. So at least we can be mindful in how we live in our bodies. Maybe our yoga practice together brings that to you, so that you're not the person that's walking around with the weight of the world on their shoulders, that you've remembered to relax the shoulders, carry that breath into calm. Maybe you're the person that just holds tension in other places, self-judgment, other judgment, I don't know. We just let our yoga practice give us that physical calm, that reminder that it's all okay. So as you're sitting nice and tall, separate the arms and reach them. As you lift the arms, let this be, maybe I'm giving things away. I don't need that anymore. It doesn't serve me, so bye-bye. And then I'm going to gather all the new experience or the opportunities that could come my way, and I'm going to bring them down here so I'm ready to grab them when they show up. And then with hands at heart, we share that word. Always means light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. So glad that you came today. I thank you for your time, for your attention, for your patience. This is always available to you. So I wish you a good rest of your day. Namaste.